Ladies and gentlemen, if I can have your attention, please. It is my very great pleasure to welcome our special guest speaker. Thank you very much for getting into your places and being on schedule and following orders. That is awesome work, team. It is a distinct honor to have with us today the 17th Secretary of Transportation for the United States Department of Transportation. He was the 54th Mayor of Charlotte, North Carolina from 2009 to 2013. Was on City Council from 2005 to 2009. Before that, a lawyer by trade, famous for his efforts in job creation, environmental progress and improvements, transit investments. And if you look at his website, two of the cutest kids you will ever see at his inauguration. Please welcome the U.S. Secretary of Transportation, Anthony Foxx. Watch out back there. Thank you very much. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's great to be with you, and thank you for the very enthusiastic welcome. I come from local government. I've done a few rubber chicken lunches in my life, so if you need to continue having your lunch, go right ahead. Don't worry, I get it. You can multitask. I want to thank also Andy Clark for the great work that you do on behalf of bicyclists all across the country. Let's give Andy a big round of applause. So I've got big shoes to fill. Yeah. You know, I was told that at one recent meeting of this group that my predecessor, Ray LaHood, got so carried away, so enthusiastic, so just brimming with excitement that he actually jumped up on a table to deliver his speech. I heard this. Well, it's the Doppler effect, I guess. But, you know, the reality is this may not be the right setting. If I actually did that today, someone would not be able to finish their lunch. So I'm not going to do that today. In fact, what I'd like to do is to, rather than talking about my commitment to bicycling, I'd like to show it. And so I'm going to do more than just talk about it. So guys, let's put it up on the big screen. Let's show them, you know, right? Now, you have to be really committed, because this goes against all theory of politics. Because you're not supposed to wear the hat. But you all know that when it comes to safety, you have to wear the hat. So at any rate, as you can clearly see, and in fact, you might not be able to tell, but this is a photograph that was taken in the last stage of the Tour de France. I was, you know, yeah, I'm sort of like Bjorn Borg. I wanted to beat folks with a wooden racket, so I took it to them with that bike right there. One of my best days. No, actually, that's a picture of me riding a bike in Charlotte, launching the first bike share in the Southeast. I could joke with Mayor Bloomberg because we actually had our bike share program established before the city of New York. But for all of my athleticism and peak, the truth is I'm a huge fan of biking, and my family is as well. At the same time, I know, as all of you do, that in order for my family and your family and all families to enjoy biking, there have to be people out there working behind the scenes and on the streets to put in place the right policies so that the roads are safe for all of us. For more than 130 years, this league and its members of the biking community have done exactly that. You've organized and raised your voices in support of safer streets, and I want to applaud you for the great work you do. But I'm here today because I have some experience with these issues as well. While it's not 130 years, it is at the local level, where I was a mayor, where I helped oversee the development of our Complete Streets program in the city of Charlotte. I also saw an uptick at the rate of bicycle and pedestrian deaths and accidents that were occurring in our city. So much so that, in fact, one morning I used to get up in the morning and take a run through the center city of Charlotte. And one morning I was running down the street at about 6 o'clock in the morning, crossing an intersection that gave me the right of way. The light was with me. And a car came into the intersection and hesitated and bumped me on the knee. So I've been a victim of what I'm talking about. As it turns out, in that particular instance, I was not harmed. I was not killed. I was lucky. Of course, you ought to see the car. But all across our country, every day, there are accidents and injuries, and unfortunately sometimes even fatalities that occur among the bicycling and the pedestrian communities. I didn't tolerate it as a mayor, and as U.S. Secretary of Transportation, we certainly won't stand still and allow this crisis to slowly build up over time. Our roads should be safe. Our roads should be safe. They should be easy places to travel, no matter how we're traveling on them. So this afternoon, I want to spend a little time talking about the U.S. DOT's effort to bring attention and investment to one mode of transportation that traditionally doesn't get enough of it, and that's bikes. And I want to begin with the trip that I took last week to the city of St. Paul, Minnesota with the President. Minnesota's in the house. All right. You came down here to get warm. We were in St. Paul, Minnesota to talk about DOT's Tiger Grant program. And as you probably know, Tiger provides funding directly to communities, helping them to tackle infrastructure projects that they wouldn't be able to tackle otherwise. Tiger investments span all modes. But over the past 5 years, I am happy to report that we've invested more than $150 million in projects that have helped improve bike networks across the United States of America. We've built bike lanes and paths and Philadelphia, and southern New Jersey. We've constructed a network to link cyclists with downtown Indianapolis, and now we're looking forward to doing more. Last Wednesday, the President and I were in St. Paul, not just to talk about the Tiger program. We were also there to talk about the investments we will make in America, because there's going to be a 6th round of Tiger this spring. It's a big deal. Now, thanks to the leadership of the President and to the bipartisanship among members of Congress like Senator Patty Murray, we've secured $600 million to continue Tiger this year, which marks a 27% increase in funding from our last round. And here's some more good news. We want to give it to projects that will help make our communities safer, greener, more livable. In other words, we also want to continue the tradition of Tiger in helping everything the bike community stands for. So work with your local officials and encourage them to apply for Tiger funding for projects you care about, and we'll be there to give them our strongest consideration and hopefully to get some of them done. Now, I should also add that Tiger was just one reason we were in St. Paul. We really went to St. Paul because we were too cold in Washington. Actually, I told the President, he joked about this. I told him it was the coldest I'd been in my entire life, and it was absolutely true. He then called me soft to the entire country. What a, you know. Y'all have bosses, don't you? Look, so this was the other thing we were there to talk about. Last Wednesday, the President laid out a vision for a 4-year, $302 billion transportation bill that will modernize this nation's infrastructure. This plan includes funding that will close the gap in the Highway Trust Fund. Now, I didn't mention this to you before, but imagine this. The greatest nation on earth built the Transcontinental Railroad, built an interstate system that's the envy of the world, that started the world in the business of aviation. This country, our nation, faces a shortfall in its Highway Trust Fund that will hit us in the face as soon as August or September of this year. And what will happen if we reach that point is at the state level, projects will get slowed or even stopped. By our estimates, 700,000 jobs hang in the balance. But what we were there in St. Paul to talk about was that in order for this country to dramatically advance, build, and extend the world's most elaborate transportation network, the world's safest transportation network, we're going to have to do more than just backfill the Highway Trust Fund. We're going to have to invest in America's infrastructure in a much more robust way. And so it's not lost on me that you're wondering perhaps where bikes fit into this $302 billion plan. Well, stay tuned. I have to leave you with a teaser. No, the truth is the budget details are being released today. But I can tell you right here and right now that we've made sure that this plan includes the resources to step up bicycle and pedestrian programs. And it has the resources we need, too, for the public transportation systems that are so important to our citizens who walk or ride bicycles or need access to paths and other amenities in their communities. Right now at DOT, we're finding new ways to help communities assess and improve their bike networks. We're studying different bike lane and cycle track configurations across the country and helping communities figure out the best way to design them. And these aren't the last efforts you're going to hear about, because I've made investing in bicycle and pedestrians my priority, and so is the President's plan. If it passes, and that's a big if it passes, it will ensure that we have the funding to continue our efforts to support bicyclists and even expand those efforts too. So we have to make sure Congress acts on this plan. And by we, I mean all of us in this room and all of those who are represented in this room. Not just DOT, but partners just like you. This organization, more than most, understands what's at stake. I think that if we're being honest, when some people hear about advocacy for more bike lanes or for new studies of new traffic patterns, they think we're favoring recreation over transportation, that we're making driving more difficult for the sake of someone's Saturday afternoon adventure. Well, let me say that I think that's a false choice. We can be for bikes and for other forms of transportation too. America can chew gum and walk straight just like American people do every single day. We can do that. This league has published a report that found that about a third of bike trips are taken by people who make less than $30,000 a year. In many communities, people are riding bikes because that's how they get to work. That's how they get to their kids' school. That's how they make a trip to the pharmacy or to another important destination. So this isn't just an issue of recreation. This is an issue of equality, bringing people together, creating opportunities for folks to expand the middle class and to help those folks who are trying to get into the middle class. It's an issue of making sure that when someone's only or best option to get to work is a bike, that they then have the option to ride it. When the President talks about ladders of opportunity, that's what he's talking about. Because sometimes that ladder can be a bike path to a new job or a new school. So let me close by saying a very simple message to you. Tell Congress how important these issues are to you. Tell Congress what's not being done in your community because of the funding uncertainty. Tell Congress why these investments matter, not only to bicyclists, but to our entire country. Folks, America is the beacon of light around the world. What we've done in transportation over centuries has been a marvel to the rest of the world. But at this moment, right now, hangs in the balance the future that we pass on to our children and to our grandchildren. They need us to build these networks in the right way. They need us to make transportation safe not only for automobiles and rail cars and airplanes, but for folks who are riding a bike or walking. If we can pass on to our children what was passed on to us, the finest transportation system the world has ever known, we will have done something as a generation. And so I really urge you not to let Congress let this moment pass by just doing the minimum. This is an opportunity for all of us to restore the vision of America through our infrastructure investments. And I urge you to make it personal, make it local to those members of Congress you talk to on a bipartisan basis. Thank you very much. It's good to be with you. I'll take a few questions. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Time for questions? Or? Yeah, okay, let's do it.
So the Secretary is actually running a little bit ahead of schedule, so has a couple of minutes for a question or two. So let's see if anyone has an issue that they would like to ask of the Secretary. Mr. Dorian Graley from Bike, Minnesota. We have a microphone, don't worry, you don't have to shout. This is a full-service operation.
I want to know if St. Paul has an inside track on a Tiger grant for implementing their very great bike pedestrian plan that they just released. I'm just kidding.
Thank you for bringing it to my attention. That's great. Smart marketing, you know, that's good.
Dorian, I trusted you, man, with the first question. We have one over there. Is that?
Yes,
Dennis.
East Coast Greenway, fellow North Carolinian.
Microphone is on its way. Hold on.
Oh. Thank you. I just had a question about the connectivity that you're looking at, being a project that's working from Maine to Florida, trying to connect people in their communities and then also to the next community through their state and through their region. Are you prioritizing some of that connectivity in the Tiger Grant process, and how is that moving forward, and how can we move the East Coast Greenway forward together, Secretary?
Thank you very much. On the general point of connectivity, what we're finding is really interesting. When we were building our transportation network over decades, it got built originally based on the political boundaries. And connections were forged through things like the interstate highway system, really by a massive effort to engender state collaboration on those types of things. What we're finding now, though, it's interesting that our economy and our regions aren't respecting political lines as much. You know, in other words, you'll have nodes of economic clusters around the country that are really tied together, and they make up, you know, in many cases, urban centers, suburban rings, and rural surrounding areas. And that's how our spheres of influence are starting to organize around the country. And one of the challenges we face in transportation is, because we're so based in political boundaries, how do you create the connections in these sort of paths and the bike networks that you're talking about? I would say that where there is a plan, which I know you all have been working very hard on one, where there's a plan, it's a whole lot easier for the federal government to be supportive than where there isn't a plan. And where there is a plan, we've seen Tiger applications. We've seen technical assistance requests, and we'll continue looking for ways to be supportive of bold, visionary plans across this country.
Thank you. We have Martha. Where's the microphone? Oh, right there. Perfect.
Oh, amazing. I work for a national nonprofit called People for Bikes, you know, a great partner with the League. I just wanted to thank you, USDOT and FHWA, for your work on updating the design guidance and recommendations around protected bike lanes and other innovative bike projects. Just cities want to build these facilities. They are inexpensive, they're quick, they can be done on a pilot basis, and they really transform the streets. And finally, at a national level, FHWA is providing great guidance and leadership. So just thank you from all of us for stepping up and doing that. It's huge.
Thank you. It's a tough crowd.
I'll tell you what. Can I carry y'all with me, you know, rest of the day? Yeah.
Thank you for being here today. I'm Jennifer Bunce from New Mexico, and I've been working with a portion of our NMDOT in the Traffic Safety Division, and I wondered if you could comment on funds in the bill, the proposal, that would go towards that traffic safety aspect, motor vehicle driver education, and other traffic safety PSAs and things like that. Is there money that could become more available to cyclists as it is, for example, today to motorcyclists? Thank you.
Thank you. Our proposal dedicates $40 million over 4 years to these types of educational initiatives to enhance bicycle and pedestrian safety. That's in our proposal. Again, we've got to get Congress to act on it, but we see this as an opportunity. Let me say one other thing about this question that came over here about the street design. This is a vitally important point. McKinsey has recently come out with a study saying that globally, we could build the same infrastructure, by globally I mean countries all across the world, could build the same infrastructure we're building for 40% of the cost. And a big component of their study talks about better use of existing infrastructure. And what I experienced in Charlotte is indicative of what you were just talking about, which is sometimes it is the design of our road systems that creates inefficiency. We had a road that was a 4-lane road in Charlotte, heavily trafficked, lots of traffic at all times. And the engineers came to us and said, we're going to put this on a road diet. I said, a road diet? What do you mean? And they said, we're going to take this from 4 lanes down to 3. 1 lane in each direction and 1 middle turn lane, bike lanes on both sides, and pedestrian islands. And so, you know, this became a big issue. The community was fussing with us. It was really a very difficult period of time. Let me tell you something. When we put that street network in, as I just described, we actually are seeing more traffic move through that system than before, because people aren't stopping to make a turn. They're going into the turn lane, and it's allowing the throughput to move forward. And you're giving bicyclists and pedestrians clear rules of the road for where they can safely move. And so this is very important, because the more we design our streets in a more efficient way to assure the free flow of traffic of all types, it'll be safer and it'll be more efficient, and we won't have to pay for additional assets building new roads as opposed to better using the ones we have.
Mr. Secretary, we have one more here. Dorothy, I
Okay.
think you're up, and the microphone is right behind you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for speaking in front of us, and I think we all were really resonating with your message. I was really happy with everything you said, and I wanted to ask you, also I sit on the Equity Advisory Committee for the League and work with Viking Public Project, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the really key moment that I was really excited about, and I think a lot of people would be too, was your idea of bicycling as a way to expand economic opportunity. And we've been talking about equity and economic opportunity a lot, and if you could expand upon that and explain how the bill does that and how we can all fully participate in that, because I think we're all interested in that. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a great question and a good one to have as the last one. Look, next to housing, the single greatest investment most families are making is transportation. You know? So if we create multiple ways for families to reduce the expenses associated with transportation, we're necessarily helping them to build capacity to invest in other necessities that they have. So, for instance, if a low-income family can make more use of a bicycle to get to and from places they need to go, that's not only good for the environment, it's not only good in terms of mobility generally, writ large for everybody, but it's also good on their pocketbooks. And, you know, the challenge with our low-income communities and our low-income families that is somewhat invisible to many people is how difficult it is to live on what is a relatively small amount of money. You know, if you can save a bus fare or paying for a tank of gas by making these trips on a bicycle, that's real money. So that's how real this issue is, in my opinion. It's a way that we create a pathway for folks who today have a lot of challenges they're confronting. And by the way, many people at the margins are working really hard. You know, moms who are working 2 and 3 jobs, fathers who are doing the same. This is not, you know, wealth transfers. This is about creating opportunities for folks who are doing everything they can to make it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. Thank you.
So we're going to serve you some lunch now, and enjoy that, and I will interrupt you in about 15, 20 minutes for the second part of the program. Enjoy your lunch.